So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome and welcome back here at BSN Network here today. We welcome you back here at BSN Network here up on the BSN podcast. It is Wednesday, May 20th. Today, hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. Flying through the week already. It's already Wednesday. It's crazy how, it feels like just a couple seconds ago it was Monday and we were back on, the shows and stuff, but now all of a sudden, it's crazy. It's almost already through the week. Hopefully everybody's having a good day and had a good rest of their day yesterday. We got a lot of sports to get to today. We got some Bartolo Colon news. Not a big name, but pretty big name around the world of baseball. We got some Bartolo Colon news and the Mets. He might be coming out of retirement. We got some news on that. We got some. You probably don't know who this guy is. You might not. I don't know whoever watching. I don't know if you know who this is. He's a very underrated player, but Bojan Bogdanovic got injured and he's getting season-ending surgery with the Jazz. That really can impact them. Very underrated player. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And we got some more Jarrett Stidham news in the Patriots. Everybody's still hyping up Jarrett Stidham. Everybody's still talking how Jarrett Stidham's going to lead this team to great things, and I don't see it happening. I'm going to give my take on what a player, their running back Rex Burkhead, came out publicly yesterday and said. I'm not going to say what he said because I'm going to save that to the end. But he said something that I disagree. I shouldn't say I disagree with. You know how I feel with Jarrett Stidham. So let's get right into it. So we got some Bartolo Colon news. So yesterday or whatever, a report came out that Bartolo Colon wants to come out of retirement and play baseball again. So he wants to play baseball again. If you don't know who Bartolo Colon is, he's a pitcher, a 4-time All-Star. He's a Cy Young winner. You know how I feel, though. I mean, I don't know if I've said this before, but I think I've said this a couple times. Maybe not on air, maybe not on the podcast, but you know how I feel with players coming out of retirement, right? There's a couple players that have came out of retirement, right? You know how I don't know if you do know how I feel. This is how I feel with players coming out of retirement. It's a little worrying, especially going on based off of their last season, right? Or their last season that they played. For example, MJ, when he came out to retirement to play with the Wizards, people were very happy because, one, it was his name. 2, he was coming off of a NBA Finals win in 1998. That was obviously The Last Dance, everything, the documentary, everything. He came back in 2002 and played a little bit with the Wizards, so that's 2. And 3, he's proven things, right? He was a Hall of Famer already. He was just coming out of retirement to maybe see if he has anything left in the tank, right? So, with players coming out of retirement, I think it's cool and everything, right? Marshawn Lynch coming out of retirement, I was all for it. I thought, he could actually really impact this team and really help out this team trying to get to help out the Seahawks team trying to get to Super Bowl. I really did think that he was able to do that because, once again, he's proven things. He was, a couple years ago in his prime, he was probably the best running back in the NFL, right? He was probably one of the best players on the Seahawks, maybe behind Russell Wilson, and maybe Cam Chancellor when they were making all those Super Bowl runs, and Richard Sherman and, Irvin and, all those guys, KJ Wright, I think it was on there as well. There was a ton of guys. Right, there's a lot of good players on that Seahawks team. You had Jermaine Kearse, you had Doug Baldwin, you had all those good guys, right? The Seahawks were a very good team. Marshawn Lynch was probably the best player on that team, right? And he went into retirement, came back out with the Raiders, played okay with the Raiders, went back into retirement, came back out with the Seahawks, and I was all in. I was like, okay, Marshawn Lynch, very good running back, has had a very successful career in the NFL. I'm in for this. I can see him doing great things. I could see him doing not great things, but I could see him doing good things. But the one thing, now we talk about Bartolo Colon, and it's not concerning, but him wanting to come out and play again, looking at his stats from the 2018 season with the Texas Rangers, they're ugly. They're pretty ugly. And I'm going to read them to you. He had an above 5 ERA. The stats are a little ugly. And like I said, right, Bartolo Colon, and so back to my retirement point before I get into the whole Bartolo Colon thing. Here's my retirement thing, okay? If you come out of retirement, you have to be ready, right? You can't just say, I want to come back out of retirement and just, play, right? You have to be ready. Because just because you came out of retirement and you had a successful career, because Bartolo Colon, we can all agree, he's had a pretty successful career. Not Hall of Fame numbers, but he's had pretty good numbers. I think he's named a 4 ERA throughout his career. It's not great, but I think he's a 4-time All-Star. He's won the Cy Young, I think, back in 2005. He's maintained a decent career, right? I mean, making it to the MLB is insane to begin with. Being able to play in the MLB until, if he comes back this year, that's 46 years old. He said he wants to play with the Mets, but my retirement thing is you can come out of retirement. I don't have a problem with you coming out of retirement. I start to have a problem is when players, like, if they come out of retirement and they're not ready and they play like garbage, right? Gronk, I think he's ready. I think he came out of retirement because I really truly think that he kept his body in shape, right? If you took yourself out, you're like, okay, I'm retiring, right? I'm retiring, 2 years, you gain some weight, and all of a sudden you come out and say, I want to play again, and you're not good because you gained weight and everything. That's what I don't like about players coming out of retirement, right? I don't mind players coming out of retirement if they stayed in shape. They're still working hard at whatever they're doing. They're still working out. They're still, they're not going overweight. When players start to go overweight, when players start to not really care, and all of a sudden a year later say, "Oh, I want to come out of retirement," and you're overweight and you're not ready, then, that's the problem. That's why I don't like when players come out of retirement. Marshawn Lynch was a little overweight when he came out of retirement, right? Eddie Lacy is another example on the Packers. He didn't come out of retirement, but he was good his first 2 years, and he started treating his body like junk, and he gained so much weight, and he couldn't play good because his weight was outrageous for a running back, right? Bartolo Colon is, heavier. He's bigger. He's 46 years old too. He's only 5'11", and he's heavier, right? He's heavier. So the one thing I'm worried about with Bartolo Colon is, did he control his weight, and is he still able to throw decent games, get 5 innings? Because I don't think you're going to get a 9-inning game out of him anymore. I just don't think he has the arm strength. He's 5'11", right? He's 285 pounds. He's 46 years old. His arm's probably about to fall off. He said he just wants to play one more year. And if he comes onto a team, is a team going to be willing to pay him the money to come back for one more year and possibly only play a couple of games? Like I said, I'm okay with players coming out of retirement, but looking at Bartolo Colon 2018 season stats, the last year he played with the Texas Rangers, they're ugly. They're not good. And I'm going to tell you them in a couple of seconds. But now he says he wants to come back and play one more year at the Mets. Are the Mets going to be willing to pay him? I mean, it's only going to be a 1-year deal, but Colon's worked his way up to get a decent amount of money. It's not going to be like a rookie contract. It'll probably be like 1 year, $5 million, something like that. It won't be big because it's only a 1-year deal. But are you going to want to risk it? Are you going to want to give a player that's, you don't even know if he's going to be the same coming out of retirement? Because it's shown the past, 3-4 years, he has not been the Bartolo Colon when he first started off his career. Once again, the guy is 46 years old. Can you rely on a 46-year-old to come out one day and start for you and get you a quality 5 innings of work? Or is a 46-year-old going to go out and, give you 3 innings, 5 hits, or 5 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors, or not 3 errors, 3 walks, whatever, right? What is he going to give you? That's the one thing. That's one thing I'm worried about. If you bring Bartolo Colon back, yeah, he's not going to be an everyday guy. You might start him every once in a while. I mean, might not be in your 5-man rotation. Maybe they'll move him into a bullpen spot. But is he really going to, if he comes back, is he really going to be a starter? And is a team going to want to risk starting him, a 46-year-old, who, that's old for baseball. That's pretty old, right? Old for baseball, I don't know if he controlled his weight or not, because he's always been a little heavier. But I don't know, sometimes when players go into retirement, they don't control their weight, and all of a sudden they come out and they look like a completely different man or whatever, a completely different guy because they gained 50 pounds, 25, 30 pounds, right? What is Bartolo Colon going to look like, right? Is Bartolo Colon still going to have the same stuff? He's always had a pretty good all-speed. He's never been known for a hard thrower. He's been known for that off-speed stuff. He's been known for his slider, been known for that kind of stuff. He's not really known for his, give me 95 miles right down the plate, right? He's not known for that. He's known for getting guys swinging, getting guys chopping at balls. He'll throw maybe a rising fastball, 87, maybe up in the zone, and the guy will swing under and pop it up, right? He's known for that. He's not known for 95 miles an hour. Oh, I'm going to blow this right past you. He's known in the 80s. Off speed is his kind of way to play. All right, his nickname is Big Sexy. It's his nickname. So let's get into it. So the 2018 stats he had. 28 games. He played 28 games. 7-2 was a win-loss record. I don't even care, right? 7-2 all you want, right? Be 7-2 all you want. I really can care less, right? You know me with the win-loss record. I can care less. If you didn't know, and if you didn't watch my podcast or whatever, the days that I say I don't care about the win-loss record, I don't like to know. I like to know the win-loss record, but is it gonna make or break if I think a guy's good or not? No. Jacob deGrom, who's won Cy Young 2 years in a row, his win-loss record has been garbage, and he's still winning Cy Young. The win-loss record means nothing, like I always say, and I'm going to repeat myself. But for people that, maybe or don't always watch every day the podcast or whatever, and they don't hear me say it all the time, but or just forget, when a pitcher, if you could throw 7 innings, 1 run, and they could count as a loss because your team can't hit. The Mets last year were one of the worst hitting teams in the MLB. Besides Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil, they did not have a very good hitting team. There would be games they would go into the 8th inning with no runs, and DeGrom would get the loss because they would go, hey, 1 run, 7 innings. I'll take that every day of the week. I'll take that every start of the year. 1 run, 7 innings. Allowing 1 run as a pitcher should get you the win every time. But when you have an offense, in the Texas Rangers last year, their offense wasn't anything special. Joey Gallo, he was alright. You had Rougned Odor, he's okay. Nothing crazy. He's a power hitter, but he swings a lot for the fences. He's kind of inconsistent. This Texas Rangers team is one of the bottom teams in the league, right? And you have a guy in Bartolo Colon who's older, not really has much gas left in the tank, pitching. Maybe some of those games were losses. Maybe some of those games, you have, maybe some of those games you have, maybe he let up 5 runs and the Rangers scored 4, right? Because his ERA is pretty whopping. It's not very good. ERA 5.78. Before the show, I always look at the player stats. And I always look at the player stats because I want to know what I'm talking about, right? I read them all. I always want to know what the player stats are, right? Because I can't go on the air and say, oh, this guy has this guy and this, and not have no clue what that means. Like, no clue, because that's what I talk about. I've seen it before I came on air today with the podcast. I saw that whopping 5.78 ERA. And if you're going to tell me you're going to pick him up, right, for 1 year, on a 1 year deal, right? That's all he said. He wants to play 1 more year. For a guy who allowed about 5 runs a game, that's a lot. Right? For 28 games last year, I would love to know the exact record, but for 28 games, I would like to know how the Texas Rangers were, right? Like I said, Texas Rangers don't have a great offense, so maybe he was averaging 5.78 ERA, but maybe even if he wasn't averaging that, maybe he only had a 2 ERA. Maybe this Rangers offense. I know the Texas Rangers offense was not very good last year. Their hitting was not very good. They overall, or 2018 meaning, they were, not last year, 2018. Overall, they were not very good. Right, overall. They weren't very good. MLB career stats, 2018 stats. 146.1 innings pitched, right? Not much. 81 strikeouts, right? 1.35 whip. That's pretty good. Not great. It's alright. Right? 81 strikeouts in 28 games. You could probably divide that and find out how many strikeouts that is. Right? I would say about probably like 3 strikeouts a game, right? 128 games, 81 strikeouts. I don't know, like what? Like 4, 6, 8, about like 4 or 5 strikeouts a game, right? He's not a big K guy. Right, like I said, probably as you get older in your career, it happens to every pitcher. As you get older, as you get later on into your career, you start to not really become that big K guy anymore. You start to get hit off of. CC Sabathia is a prime example, and I'm not beating up on guys that like I said, I'm a pitcher, and I'm not a big strikeout guy either. I pitch to contact. I'll get maybe 2-3 Ks a game if I pitch 5 innings. I'll get about 2-3 Ks a game. I pitch to contact. I have guys roll over on the ball, hit grounders, or they'll pop up. I pitch to contact. When I pitch, I don't pitch strikeouts. I do get strikeouts, but I don't get them that often. But usually you see guys in the MLB, usually they throw a lot of strikeouts. You usually see MLB, even college, you see strikeouts, but sometimes even college you see guys. It's when you get to the MLB you start really starting to throw strikeouts, right? When you see guys in the MLB get older, CC Sabathia was a huge strikeout guy in the beginning of his career. But as they get older, as their velocity drops, like I said, I'm not making fun. I'm not beating up on them. I pitch to contact as well. It's fine to pitch to contact. It actually sometimes good because it keeps your pitch count low. Instead of throwing three pitches at least every at bat to a guy, you could be throwing one pitch every at bat to a guy grounding out, right? But usually when guys get older, they start to pitch to contact because they don't have that velocity anymore. Their spin on the ball isn't amazing anymore like it was when they first started off. You usually see I'm sure Max Scherzer, right? He's a big strikeout guy. I'm sure when he gets to his if he keeps playing probably a couple years from now, whatever, when he gets old to the final tail end of his career, you'll probably see his strikeouts drop too, right? Because it just happens. It's normal. It's a human thing. You usually don't see older guys throwing 10 strikeouts a game in their last season, right? You usually see them maybe 3, 4, 5. CC was like that. Last year, his last season with the Yankees, it was nothing crazy. It was, he had a good season, but his strikeouts weren't strikeouts weren't like when he was on the Indians, when he was on the Brewers, right? He played for those teams. His strikeouts were flying through the roof, but when the Yankees, when he's tail end of his career, they're not as much because the velocity drops, the spin on the ball drops, your fastball isn't the same, your movement, like I said, on the ball isn't the same, and guys start to hit off of you, but if you can pitch to contact and not have them hit all these home runs, it's fine, right? That's one thing I don't like about J.A. Happ on the Yankees. He pitches to contact, but it's bad contact. It's singles, doubles, triples, home runs, right? He has let up so many home runs last year. I'm fine if a pitcher pitches to contact, but the problem is when they start to pitch to contact, it ends up turning into home runs, it ends up turning into runs, it ends up turning into a guy that can't get you 5 quality innings, right? That's the problem. So if a team's going to pick up Bartolo Colon for 1 year, they're going to have to start to realize that it's going to be a pitcher that's not going to get many strikeouts, right? He's not going to get many strikeouts. He's been a strikeout guy throughout his career. He's not going to be any strikeouts. 565 total games in his career, okay? 247 and 188 win-loss record total in his career. That's, like I said, that stat's useless to me. I'm going to read it just because, it's good to know, but it really doesn't matter. Win-loss record doesn't mean anything right now. It really doesn't. It doesn't. I'm trying to think of another, stat that in other sports that really nobody cares about. Like I said this like a week ago on my podcast. Each sport has its stats everybody worries about. Okay? NHL, it's goals per game or assists per game because assists are pretty known in the NHL. NBA or MLB, it's home runs and ERA, right? Home runs usually for a hitter and ERA for a pitcher, right? NBA, I said NHL. NBA, it would be probably points per game. Sometimes people, if you're getting to triple doubles, they worry about assists and rebounds, but usually they don't. NFL, it's for a single player, or for a quarterback, it's usually touchdowns or yards. For a receiver, it's probably receiving yards, and for a whole team, it's probably touchdowns per game, probably touchdowns per game, or depending on how many, defense, it's probably something like sacks per game. Sacks and touchdowns is the stat in the NFL that everybody worries about. NBA for NBA, it's points per game, and blocks. I guess you can count blocks. Blocks is NHL, goals per game and assists. NBA or MLB, ERA, and home runs. Those are the stats everybody cares about, right? Win-loss record, not really. I don't care about win-loss record because to me it's useless. You can still win a Cy Young and have a below 500 win-loss record. 4.12 ERA. Career ERA, not amazing. 4 runs per game, it's alright, right? For a guy who's played, I think, since 2005 or 2003, I think is when he started career, right? Let's see. No, his debut, never mind. His debut was in 1997. Never mind, take that back. He won his Cy Young, I think, in 2005, and he made his first All-Star appearance in 2003. But for a guy that's been in the league for, 21 years, well, if he makes it this year, that would be 22. For a guy that's been in the league for this long, 4.12 ERA isn't that bad. Because if he plays again this year, that's 22 years, right? That's not horrible. Not great, though. He's pitched 3,461.2 innings pitched, 2,535 strikeouts, and a 1.31 whip. The strikeouts are very good in his career because like I said, when younger pitchers are throwing high velocity, are throwing throwing their movement on their curveball, slider, off-speed, changeup, whatever the case may be, when they're young, movement on all that is insane. It's almost untouchable at times. But when you get to your 40s, when you get to the years where your arm's about to fall off, you turn into pitch to contact. You start to pitch to contact, and you start to kind of just slow things down a little bit. Your velocity is going to drop, of course. It's going to drop. Maybe your first couple years you're pitching 95, then your last years or your final year in the MLB, your last couple years in the MLB, maybe you drop down to like an 80, 85, right? Something like that. So, comment down below. Do you think the Mets or any team, the Mets were the most mentioned team because Bartolo Colon said he wants to come back for one more year and play with the Mets, right? Do you think any team would pick up Bartolo Colon right now? Comment down below. I wouldn't be surprised. Because he's not horrible. He says he wants to come back for one more year. What's the worst case, right? Like I said, if he said he wants to come back and play again, and you don't know how long, and you sign him to maybe a 2-3 year deal, and he all of a sudden starts to allow 5 runs a game again, and maybe he's just not Bartolo Colon. Like maybe he's just worse than because the Texas Rangers that season was not great. I mean, like I said, the guy's 46 years old. It's old. It's pretty old for a baseball player, right? It's getting to the point of his career where he's definitely starting to get a little bit older. He's starting to get to the point where maybe he should think about just retiring. That's why he said, I want one more year, right? One more year. For all we know, he could come back this year, win Cy Young, be the best player in the MLB, right? He could have a 0 ERA. He could literally strike out every single batter he sees. That for all we know. That's not going to happen. But what I think, I'm going to make my prediction. If he comes back, he's going to come back on a 1-year deal. I think he'll come to the Mets, if anything, because I don't know if any other team really wants him. Not trying to be mean, but, I think he's starting to get to that point of his career where he should just hang up the cleats because he's getting older. Like I said, he's not the same Bartolo Colon from 6 years ago. He was good with the Mets. Right? Come back for one more year. He's average, maybe 4 ERA, 5 ERA, plays 20, 25 games, something like that. Has a win-loss record, I'm not even going to say it, maybe like 5-11, something like that. Nothing obnoxious. Couple strikeouts here and there, maybe 3-4 strikeouts a game, and call it quits, and, you finish off what Bartolo Colon, I would say, has had a pretty successful career, right? It's successful enough to make it to the MLB. To be able to stay in the MLB for this would be his 22nd season or whatever, that's pretty insane. Like I said, for a guy that, is not many people talk about him because, he's not a household name. But I think if he comes back, he'll probably be on a 1-year deal and he'll be okay, right? Nobody's expecting him to win all these, Cy Young, All-Star, everything like that. Nobody's really expecting that. So, alrighty, so now we've got Bojan Bogdanovic. Complicated name. So you probably don't know who he is. Or, I don't know if you don't, but many people probably don't. But he's very underrated. He's, in my opinion, an underrated player. I had him in fantasy basketball. I could go into that now. I'll read you my fantasy team real quick. I'll read you how many points he was averaging in fantasy. I had him in fantasy basketball. He was very good, putting up probably 15, 20 points a game. For me in fantasy basketball, I don't know, not his exact stats. I think he was putting up 20 a game this year. This is my fantasy basketball team. It's very good. It's 15-1, I think, or 15-2, 17-2. I'm 17-2 in fantasy basketball. I'm on a 10-game win streak. So this is my team. It's Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Bojan Bogdanovic, Tobias Harris, Hassan Whiteside, Buddy Hield, Luka Doncic, Kyle Lowry, Kevin Love, Jared Allen, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Serge Ibaka. So Bojan Bogdanovic was position rank in fantasy 9, average points per game 15.9, round that up to 16, and 33 minutes was his thing for NBA. So the season stats I'm not going to say because I'm going to read them off of another thing, but those are I can't say his season stats for fantasy. That doesn't mean anything. I want to go through his real season stats. His real season stats aren't the fantasy stats. He doesn't average 15.9 points per game. That's in fantasy. Fantasy works differently. Shot is like make shot of one. I don't know. I would have to go into all logistics. But he has to get surgery. So he's out for the year. So if the NBA somehow resumes, the Jazz are going to be out without one of their key players. And Bojan Bogdanovic. He does not get any respect. Donovan Mitchell's the main guy on that team, right? We all know that. Donovan Mitchell's the main guy on that team. Then you go over to Bojan Bogdanovic. He's probably the second player. You go over to Mike Conley. Mike Conley has struggled a little bit this year. You have Jordan Clarkson, who's okay. Ed Davis is an big man, nothing crazy. He's not no all-star best player in the NBA. He's maybe a little bit below average. He had a decent season with the Nets, and he's a veteran, there for some of the younger guys. But Bojan Bogdanovic now is out for the year, and this is big. Like, this might not seem like big for some people, but this is huge. Like, he was putting up big numbers. He was pretty good. He had a pretty good season. 20.2 points per game. He averaged 20 points per game. He was a very good player. He had a couple of very clutch shots, too, this season. I think he had a buzzer beater. He had a couple. I think he had one or two buzzer beaters. He's made a couple big free throw shots at the free throw line. He's a very clutch player. And for a guy that is very underrated, for a guy that doesn't get much attention, for a guy that's kind of, who's this guy, who's this guy, who's this guy, this is very bad for the Utah Jazz. If the NBA season comes back with this whole virus thing and everything going on, you already know the NBA season might not even come back. But if the NBA season comes back, the Jazz right now I think are 4th in the West. Okay? If for some reason the NBA season comes back, they would be without Bojan Bogdanovic, and that is very bad. It might not seem bad, but it's bad. He is probably behind Donovan Mitchell. If it was there for Donovan Mitchell on that team, Bojan Bogdanovic would be definitely on the spotlight. He's the second best player on that team, right? Like I said yesterday, almost with Trey Jones. You have Trey Jones. You had R.J. Barrett and Zion there. Trey Jones was kind of out in his only area. You have Donovan Mitchell there. And I think even Mike Conley's more known than Bojan Bogdanovic. You might even have Donovan Mitchell than Mike Conley, who struggled tremendously this year. He has struggled he has not played good at all this year. And I was going to pick him up in fantasy because he had a good year the past couple of years. He's been a quality player, pretty underrated. He came to the Jazz. Everybody was like, oh, we have Mike Conley. We're excited about this. They had to bench him because he wasn't playing good at all, right? Spotlight's on Donovan Mitchell. And Bojan Bogdanovic is kind of over there like, okay, I'm hitting my shots. I'm putting up 20.2 points per game. I'm in my own area. I'm okay. Now he has to get surgery, and the Jazz, I think, are 4th in the West. If the NBA season comes back, this is a huge loss for them. It's pretty much Donovan Mitchell now versus whoever they're playing, the 5 other teams for the 5 other players on the other team, because Mike Conley can't produce, right? It was Donovan Mitchell, right? You had Donovan Mitchell. You had Bojan Bogdanovic, who you can give him the ball late for him to make a clutch shot. He's done it many times, right? Right? He was a very consistent player. You need him to score whatever amount of points. You need him to do this. You need him to do that. He was a good listener. He's a good leader. He's kind of has a veteran type feel. He's good for the younger players on the team. And him and him and Donovan Mitchell were really cruising. That team's really cruising right now. They were really, the chemistry was there, the teamwork is there, everything was working, and now he has to get surgery and season-ending injury, or whatever, season-ending. So now, the NBA season is back. Now it's Donovan Mitchell versus who knows, right? Because you can't trust Mike Conley has not produced at all this year. They gave him the money for him to do nothing. Back to my point exactly. Guys, when they earn the money, then they don't really care, right? I mean, it's not that his contract's huge, But still, he was with the Grizzlies. He was doing really well with the Grizzlies. Was probably the best player on the Grizzlies. Then he was doing really well. The Jazz were like, hey, we could pick up another guy. We could pick up a guy. This guy could really help us. Comes here, not producing. He's not consistent. He has an all right game, then has a bad game, all right game, maybe has a good game. Very inconsistent this year. Although he did win the horse challenge for the NBA. But with Bojan Bogdanovic, he was almost like Donovan Mitchell's sidekick. Donovan Mitchell, leader. Bojan Bogdanovic, and then, Jordan Clarkson and them mixed in there, but they're not putting up 15, 20 points a game. They're kind of the guys, we need a shot out of you, get us the shot, 5, 6 shots a game. They're almost playing like Steve Kerr roles, right? 20.2 points per game, that's 27th in the NBA, 4.1 rebounds, 134th in the NBA, not very good. He's a small forward, so, you have a guard, Donovan Mitchell, you have the guard and everything there, and then you had a good forward in Bojan Bogdanovic. That's all you need, right? And you had some good players, and obviously you had Rudy Gobert. You obviously had him as well there. You have Rudy Gobert as well. Them three together were amazing. But now with this whole situation, now we don't know, are they going to be able to even be able to play again, right? And that was what I'm talking about too. And I wanted to tell you guys about that. Like, the rebounds might not seem great, the assists might not seem great, but you have Rudy Gobert, one of the better rebounders in the league. I think he's a very good rebounder. You had them three were perfect together. Now you take him out, you take a very good scorer out, and now it's Donovan Mitchell that has to do 90% of the scoring. Rudy Gobert's not going to be putting up huge scoring numbers. He's going to be, rebound, assist, get the ball under the net, can't put it up, kick it out. Donovan Mitchell, and he had two really good guys to pass to. Now 20.2 points per game is down the drain, gotta wait till next season. 2.1 assists per game. Here are his total stats. He used to play with the Nets. Here are his total stats. Okay, he used to play with the Nets, then he played with the Wizards for 1 year, then he was with the Pacers. That's where I actually knew him from. That's where I found out about him first, because he was doing work. He had a very good season last year with the Pacers, and then Victor Oladipo went down. I think that was last year. Victor Oladipo then went down, and then all of a sudden that Pacers team went down as well. Miles Turner now is over there, kind of filling and stuff. So his overall career stats: 462 games played, 345 games started, 28.5 minutes per game. Field goal percentage is 46. Another thing I like about him, 39.4 3-point percentage. Another thing I like about him, his field goal percentage, 46. Right, that's very good. That's good. Might not seem good, right? If you had a quiz handed back to you and it was a 46, you would probably not be happy with that. But for the NBA, like I said, if you have over a 50% shooting NBA, that's almost like getting 100 in a standardized test, right? NBA shooting, 30 is considered good. 46 is very good. 39, I said that. 85.8 rounded up to 86. Free throw percentage. Not a big block guy. Not a huge steals guy. Actually, steals aren't too bad. 0.6 for a career actually isn't that bad. That's what I got. Like I said, it might not seem like a huge thing, but for Jazz fans, for players on the Jazz, Bojan Bogdanovic this is not great. This is the definition of, can this virus just end and can we just restart? This is another reason. The Jazz have one extra reason than every other. The Utah Jazz fans have one extra reason than everybody else. Like, why they could just restart 2020, right? Now Bojan Bogdanovic, who you might, like I said 5 times today, it might not seem much to people, but really this is bad for the Jazz. He is one of their better players besides Donovan Mitchell. If they didn't have Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic would be a very bigger name in the NBA. And Rudy Gobert is obviously there, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to be putting up. Bojan Bogdanovic was just such a good scorer. He was like Donovan Mitchell. Him and Donovan Mitchell were the scorers, and Rudy Gobert was, the rebounder, the assist man. And now you take one piece out of that puzzle, and now all of a sudden a team that's fourth in the East obviously trying to make it to a title. Now a team that's fourth in the East trying to get to the title now is lost one of their key components, and now who knows what's going to happen if they're either going to stay in fourth in the East if the NBA comes back, or if they're just going to be some semi-average, right? Semi-average, maybe still stay fourth in the East, maybe jump back a couple spots. It's tough for the Jazz. It really is tough for the Jazz. It's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to begin with if we even see an NBA season, right? MLB season was booming. Everybody was like, MLB season going to start. Players, we don't even know. We want the money. We want the money. If the NBA season starts back up, though, this is a big loss for the Utah Jazz. Now we move on to Jared Stidham and the New England Patriots. You know how I feel about this. But a running back, Rex Burkhead, the running back for the New England Patriots, came out and said, very impressed by Jared Stidham's rookie year. It's not even that I'm like, he barely played in his rookie year. Like I said, I'm not trying to, I don't want to say anything yet, because I know what's going to happen. He's going to be a great quarterback. It's just how it is. What's going to happen is Jared Stidham's going to come out. He's going to come out. I'm going to be, doing my podcast and everything, saying how I don't think Jared Stidham's going to be that good. And that's why I don't want to, completely say it yet. I just, am I the only one? Comment down below. Am I the only one, am I the only one that really thinks that Jared Stidham is going to be this good? Comment down below if you think Jared Stidham is going to be good. I feel like I'm the only one. I shouldn't say that. But, I've heard a ton of people, there's a ton of sports shows that I watched that have said they don't think Jared Stidham's going to be all that. I think the Patriots are overhyping him a little bit. I think people are like, okay, we got Tom Brady, now let's just overhype this guy. Or we had Tom Brady, now let's just overhype this guy. I think the Patriots are trying to show people that, we don't need Tom Brady, we got Jared Stidham. I just don't see Jared Stidham being a great quarterback, being a quarterback that is, I just don't see it. Last year, he had a 50% completion percentage, 14 yards, and 1 interception in his game. And here comes Rex Burkhead, 18.8 QBR, by the way. Here comes Rex Burkhead coming out and saying, I was very impressed by his rookie season. What were you impressed about? The guy barely played. You can't even, I'm not even, it's not that I don't think Jared Stidham's good. The guy didn't even play. That's almost like saying Patrick Mahomes' first year when he played one game was good. You can't say that. He played one game. He barely played. That's just outrageous. Very impressed. What did he do? He played one regular season game. No touchdowns, 1 interception, 14 yards, 18.8 QBR. What are you happy about? His preseason stats? Preseason means nothing. You can't go off for the preseason. A guy could throw 15 touchdowns in the preseason, come out in the regular season and play bad. It's just mind-blowing to me that these Patriots fans, everybody in the Patriots organization, we have our guy in Jared Stidham. We have Jared Stidham. We have him. And I'm not saying he's going to be horrible. I just don't see him living up to all the hype. Right? Who talked about Jared Stidham in college? I don't even remember. When he got drafted, did anybody say, 2 years, if Tom Brady leaves, this is going to be the guy? Am I the only one that's confused a little bit here? When Jared Stidham got drafted, was everybody like, oh my gosh, we got Jared Stidham, and we know Tom Brady, if he gets, because, at that time, I think he got drafted, he was a rookie last year, so a lot of people knew that. I predicted Tom Brady to play one more year and then get rid of him, but that's not true. 1 or 2 more years I had him going with the Patriots. And obviously with everything going on last year, obviously they got Jared Stidham. Nobody was like, if Tom Brady leaves this year, we got our answer, right? Did anybody say that? If you said that, okay, props to you. But I don't see that. I just don't see Jared Stidham being a great, great player. And maybe he'll be good. Maybe he'll be good. But I don't see him being great. Everybody's like, oh, I'm impressed by this stat. I'm impressed by this stat. I'm impressed by this stat. Blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, it's just a little confusing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Comment down below if you think Jarrett Stidham's going to be good. I don't know. But for having the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, leaving your team, probably one of the biggest shoes to fill, spots on the team to fill, and you are saying that Jarrett Stidham is going to be the answer, the best player for you. Okay? His 2018 stats: 2,794 passing yards, 18 touchdowns and 5 passes and interceptions. Okay? 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, right? 18 touchdowns. Let me look at his 2017 stats. I'm pretty sure 2018 was his highest amount of touchdowns he had in the season. I don't know if this is... I don't know. Maybe he did exactly 18. No, that's not correct. 2018. No. Okay. 2018 still had 18 touchdowns. Highest touchdowns in a season. Okay? Now let me just pull up this. Now, I'm not trying to compare him to two or anything, but a quarterback that I really believe is going to be a star in the league has had 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and Justin Herbert had 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This is a guy who had only had 18 touchdowns in college at Auburn. Right? Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm just trying to say I don't see where Patriots fans are coming. I don't want to say yet that he's going to be 100% bust. Why did they pick this guy up? He's going to be horrible, throwing interceptions every pass. I don't want to get to that point yet. But what I'm trying to make clear with everybody watching the podcast is I just don't believe he's going to be the answer long term for the Patriots. We're impressed by his rookie year. Oh, we're impressed by this. Gus Malzahn coming out from the Auburn coach. Very good coach, by the way. Comes out and says, I have no problems with Gus Malzahn. I'm just a little confused what he said here. Comes out and says, oh, he's ready for the big moment. Bill Belichick says, oh, we got our guy. We got our guy. We got our guy. Patriots fans. Oh, yes, Jarrett Stidham. Call me crazy, but maybe if we... Okay, we'll leave it at this. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's going to be that good, right? I don't think it's going to be amazing. When the NFL season starts, like I said, I hope the NFL season doesn't get delayed. I don't think it will get delayed. I think it'll start on time. No fans at stadium. When the NFL season starts, if the first 3, 4 5 weeks, he's going insane, then we can talk about that. But I just don't see Jarrett Stidham being the long-term answer. Maybe this year is a good year. Maybe he does, right? Maybe he does. Jarrett Stidham proved me wrong. I'm not trying. I know it might seem like it. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, horrible, but I just don't think he's what Patriots fans are saying is I don't think he's going to be that great. Come on, really? Really? You're telling me he's going to be, everybody's like, oh, he's going to be the best quarterback in the league. No, I just don't, I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing a big, maybe I'm missing something great. Maybe I'm missing something. But from what I see with my eyes, I've seen his highlights before. I just don't see him being a great player in this league. I think Patriots fans are overhyping him a little bit. I think they're kind of just a little hesitant after Brady left. They're kind of like, oh, we got our guy. We don't even need Brady. We got Jarrett Stidham. Maybe that's why. But I just don't see Jarrett Stidham being the long-term option, being the best player, being a great player, being an all-pro, all of that. I just don't see it. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And coming out, I find more outrageous. Coming out and saying he had a very good rookie year last year. Impressed? What are you impressed about? What are you impressed about? What were you impressed about his preseason highlights? Maybe. That's preseason, though. It's going to be different this year. It's going to be different. I don't see the Patriots finishing over 500 this year. Right? It's going to be a little different. Right? And it's not even just one thing. I just thought of this right now. Like, okay, maybe he doesn't have all the skill in the world, but also look at his receiving core. His receiving core is paper thin. Julian Edelman, who's he's good, but he's better in the playoffs. It goes to show he's never made to a Pro Bowl. And I should have known this better. I drafted him in fantasy. I should have known this better. Julian Edelman is better in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. He's never been a big regular season kind of guy. He's always been a playoff kind of guy. He's always been come up with a big catch in the playoffs, right? You can't even, Julian Edelman's probably the best receiver on that team, but that's why Tom Brady didn't do good last year. One, they didn't have a good tight end. Two, Julian Edelman was the only good receiver, and he's never been a big name receiving quarterback in the end. He is a big name. I'm not saying Julian Edelman's bad. I'm just saying, he's never been huge in the regular season. It's always been the postseason where he's came along, which is good. Right, it's good because you need players to play the best in the postseason, right? But he's never been a big regular season guy. But I just don't think if Jarrett Stidham was on the Cowboys right now with that receiving core they had with Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, maybe I'll be talking different then. But for the moment being, on what you can call one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL, and the Patriots, they don't have a tight end. They don't really have a good receiver. I mean, Julian Edelman's good, but even him, he's better in the postseason, and you have to get there for him to really It's almost like he just unlocks in the postseason. Regular season he's good, but when he gets to the postseason, he's on cloud 9. It's interesting with Julian Edelman, and that just overall, they don't. And the running backs are okay, but it should be interesting to see what happens really with Jarrett Stidham and this whole Patriots team. It's interesting to see what this whole Patriots team happens anyway. It really is. They have Bill Belichick, and maybe Jarrett Stidham's going to be great under Bill Belichick. Who knows? You got to think of the upside too, but I just don't see this time right now, Wednesday, May 20th, I just don't see Jarrett Stidham being being the amazing answer. I just don't. I don't know. But that's what I got for the podcast today. Tomorrow, I'm doing my top. I think I'm going to do it. I think I will. Unless if some other news breaks, I think I will. But tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my top 10 NBA players. Or not NBA players, MLB players. Okay? Top 10 MLB players. Okay? I know yesterday, I think I said something more about the draft or Cole Anthony I was going to talk about. I think I might talk about that tomorrow because today got pushed because of all the news. I was going to talk about, but then the Bartolo Colon news came out. Then the Bojan Bogdanovic news came out. And then the Jarrett Stidham came out. So I was like, I got to push that back. So Cole Anthony, I think, will be tomorrow. It should be. I probably will. Okay? But Cole Anthony will be tomorrow. Probably the MLB all-time players. And if there's other news that come out, I'll find another thing to talk about. I think I will be doing the MLB all-time players. I'll write it down. I got my top 10 already. Or I'm not going to do my top 10. I'm going to do each position. And then I'm going to do their stats and everything. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the lineup, the all-time lineup. I think that's what I'm going to do. So tomorrow I'll be back again talking more sports. That's what I got. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you all here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.